All right, Ty. So we got the New Orleans Pelicans, 30 teams in 30 days. Zion Williamson, the Sky Walker, Alonzo Ball, their all-star, one most improved player, Brandon Ingram. They have a lot of young talent on this team. They just traded away Drew Holiday. They pulled off that heist from Milwaukee for Drew Holiday. What Pelicans, they got a lot of assets. They got a superstar in the making, Zion Williamson, All Star, Brandon Ingram. They got some. They can make some noise in the West. Maybe, who knows?
They can make some noise in the West, but definitely it's not looking like playoff noise to me. You traded Drew Holiday, you arguably your best player. Brandon Ingram, he's due for restricted free agency. I'm not sure if they're still content on bringing Brandon Ingram back. Like I know he was their leading scorer. I just don't know because I think a team's gonna throw Brandon Ingram a lot of money. I think one of those dead teams, like maybe like Chicago or even Atlanta, if they can't get Hayward, I think one of those dead teams are gonna throw Brandon Ingram a lot of money. And I don't think New Orleans is looking at Brandon Ingram and saying he's our guy. A guy can be a leading scorer, but you just know if a guy is your guy or not. I feel like it's like Giannis leaving the Bucks. They're not gonna look at Chris Middleton and saying he is our guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where the Pelicans are at with Brandon Ingram. Man. I'm looking at this roster. You got Lonzo, you brought in Eric Bledsoe, you brought in George Hill, you got Zion, you got Redick. I think you should trade Redick. And I just don't see much after that. Like you just got some guys that were rookies last year. You got you got a bunch of guys under 25 years old on this team. That's just not the recipe for winning basketball. At this point in the NBA, it's just not. You're just not going to win with all those young guys on your team, especially when none of those guys have elevated themselves to at least star level. We are hoping Zion is going to be a star. We're hoping he's going to be a superstar, as a matter of fact. But we're still not sure. These guys won't even let Zion play back-to-back games. Like they wouldn't even let him play 2 games in a row. That it's getting ridiculous at this point. My only advice for the Pelicans: you want to win some games, play Zion. I understand the guy is. I don't even think he's overweight. I understand his body is a little unorthodox, like we're usually seeing NBA players be. I understand the way he plays. He plays hard and aggressive. Yes, that is the way the guy plays. You cannot have this number one pick, this superstar, the biggest star we've seen come in the league since LeBron James. You cannot have not. You can't have this guy on your roster and you're just playing him half the games of the season. Like it's like, what's the point? You guys need to grow up. If the guy gets injured, so it be. You say, okay, we tried it. He got injured, so it be. But you just can't have this guy playing half the games, playing 40 games every year of his career just because you're thinking he's going to get injured. When are you trying to win? Who's going to come in New Orleans and say, okay, I want to play Zion when they know Zion is only going to give them 40 games because Pelicans are holding them back? You gotta be realistic about the situation now. Yeah, they got a lot of picks for Drew Holiday. I think they should do another trade. I think they should trade on JJ Redick. It doesn't make sense having Redick there. You're not going to make the playoffs this year. Just get some assets to Redick. A lot of teams could use a shooter in Redick. See what you can do there, and you just need to be on content on looking into next year. Next year, you need to look on the free agent market and see who can we get. Because right now, the free agent market is dry. I don't think Gordon Hayward's going to answer your problems. I don't think Ibaka's going to answer your problems. Right now, you just need to understand this upcoming season, it's not going to be well for you. You need to just look for next year and then see how that goes.
Okay, yeah, there's a couple of things. First of all, when they came back from the 4 month break and they was playing Zion Williamson 15 minutes a game, I told you it was ridiculous and you was defending them. So let's just get that out of the way. And now you're starting to see
Because they
how.
were out of the playoffs. Because they were out of the playoffs.
No, I mean, no, that was in the playing game, so they still had a chance to make the playoffs. All the teams who were there had a chance to
But
make the playoffs.
no, I'm looking at it like, okay, you get into the playoffs. You really think you have a chance against the Lakers? You get the 18. You really think you have the chance to get the Lakers? I saw those playing games for Pelicans as get your feet wet games. I didn't see it.
No,
Pelicans weren't going anywhere. We
yeah,
got to
no,
be realistic about some teams now.
those
You got to
guys
be
came
realistic.
back. All those guys came back to the bubble to make the playoffs. I don't think anyone just came there for the free food and catering and stuff. But that's just a couple of things. I think they should keep Brandon Ingram. If they let go of Brandon Ingram, who else is on this team is going to score points? Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball. They don't play Zion a lot. Like who else on this team is going to score? I know they got Bledsoe and Hill. Those guys on, you want to talk about a lottery team like without Ingram and then Zion only, they'll be low advantage Zion because obviously the season's going to be condensed, a lot of back to backs and stuff. Who else on this team is gonna score points? I don't know. I think they should keep Ingram. Um, I feel like Ingram's still gonna get better. We saw the jump he made, obviously playing with LeBron. That wasn't a good fit. He really needs the ball. I still want to see, like, we've seen what Zion is capable of, but we haven't seen him like they haven't let him, run free. They haven't let him loose. They still like have him on the leash, in the backyard, but they ain't open up the gate. Sometimes you gotta let your dogs run free, and that's what they need to do with Zion. Let the brother run free. Um, I feel like they have a ton of assets. I don't know how you could get. They basically got the same trade that the Lakers gave them for Drew Holiday for 80. Like they basically got the 80 trade for Drew Holiday. I don't know how they did that. That was a full on robbery that they pulled off. But they have a bunch of picks. Zion is the guy. So this team, they're in a good position. A lot of teams they don't know, like, okay, is he gonna be our guy? Okay, Zion is gonna be a guy. Now you need the second guy. You try and strike gold again in in the lottery, or you go and trade for a guy like Giannis, to pair with Zion, and you probably have something going for. But I feel like they in a really good situation in terms of assets, and they have a guy in Zion, so they're in a pretty good spot. They just need to figure out, how to continue to build around Zion.
Um, that package, like you say, with the Pelicans got from Anthony Davis, I'm looking at it. Brandon Ingram is a restricted free agent. Like I said, yes, I think they should bring back Brandon Ingram. But if I think if a team is going to throw Brandon Ingram $100 million, I don't think the Pelicans are ready to make that commitment to Brandon Ingram. Although they like him, but at some point, it's a certain price you like each guy in this league. Then Lonzo Ball, he is up next year as well for an extension. They just drafted Kyrie Lewis out of Alabama. A lot of people are saying this guy's the fastest guy in the draft. He's a point guard. He's a playmaker. I know they like Lonzo as well. You ready to throw money on Lonzo? You drafted Kyrie Lewis. I think they're looking at him. They're looking at him as Lonzo Ball's replacement. They ain't got Josh Hart. This guy's been injured. We already know what Josh Hart is. He's just going to shoot some threes, play a little bit of defense. That's about it. So there's really, now that package is really just those picks they got from the Lakers. And I'm just looking at this team like, first of all, where are the points coming from? Who's playing the defense? Yes, Lonzo can play from defense. Who's playing the defense? You're in the Western Conference. Your window is not right now. You got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, the Warriors. Clay just went down. You got Dallas. You're gonna be competing against Dallas and Felix for years to come. And yeah, you just need. I'm looking at all those assets they collected. What are you trying to do with them? My imagination is you're not going to get a superstar with those assets because you cannot trade for a superstar because no superstar is going to want to stay in New Orleans. What you do with those assets is you get a bunch of good players. You get a bunch of good players and you put them on the team. I know we're seeing the assets like they're going to get a superstar. No, that's not what these teams are doing with these assets. They're looking at these assets like we're going to get a bunch of good players. We're going to get another Drew Holiday. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get a guy like Gordon Hayward through trade. They're not going to get that big superstar. They're just going to get some guys that fringe all-star. Maybe, I don't know, Damian Lillard probably may be looking at their team like, I don't know how much more time we got left. This team, Damian Lillard, he's past 30 years old. CJ McCollum, he's been that. Watch out for Pelicans to go after a guy like a Damian Lillard. You got some guys on the free agent market. You got DeMar DeRozan. Maybe they give him a good 1 year deal. Maybe they give Ibaka a good 1 year deal. Maybe bring one of the Morris brothers. And that's already 3 players that they can bring in at this point because they have a lot of money who they can bring in on 1 year deals that can obviously help them to contend. Like that is my thing with the Pelicans. You're not going to get that big guy to sign a long-term deal. You just have you're going to be this team that's going to have to throw short-term money to some good players. and hopefully you just compete for that year. Unless you land another superstar in the NBA draft, unless you get another top 5 pick, you find another guy that can pair with Zion that can move you further into the future, like the Phoenix, like the Dallases, like those kind of teams. That's the team. That's the reality of your team. You're just gonna be at a bunch of good players, and this roster right now,
They
I think
definitely.
this roster is bottom 3. This is bottom 3 in the league. If they're not going to be playing Zion 30 minutes a game, and he's probably only going to be playing 3/5 of the games, I just this team is just, I don't know. David Griffin, you got a lot of assets, but at some point you got to put some guys on the court.
Yeah, they definitely have to. I feel like I feel like Zion, they really let him go. I feel like this team could be something because we saw this year, like they would be right there in the game. It's like, okay, if you just let Zion play 5 more minutes, you would have win that game. So I feel like a lot of those close games last year that they lost, they're gonna win a lot of them going forward. With Zion playing. I feel like Brandon Ingram gets better. All these guys are gonna get better. We saw Alonzo Ball made a huge improvement with his shot because he was horrible when he's in LA, and then he came to the Pelicans and they fixed it. So I feel like Alonzo Ball is gonna continue to improve. So I mean, it's just a matter of just getting some veterans on this team. They lost their ultimate veteran, Drew Holiday. They still got JJ Redick, but he doesn't play any defense. You need to bring in a veteran guy. That plays some defense could bring some toughness to the team because Zion don't play defense and Ingram don't play defense. Those are your two star your star players on the team. And Lonzo plays defense, but he's not a leader or anything. He's not gonna be like do this, do that. Um, so I think they need to bring in a defensive minded piece to the team who could really anchor the defense for them, and I feel like I feel like they'll be good to go.
Pelicans fans, I know the team doesn't really look good right now. You got Zion, you got a lot of picks. I think the Nikhil Alexander Walker, I think he's going to be a good player. I think he should get more minutes. Jackson Hayes, I kind of think he was a bust. I think Jackson Hayes, I don't think Jackson Hayes is a long term big man player in this league. Maybe a backup. You got Zion, you got Alonzo. He's going to get a little better. You got David Griffin, you got all those picks. Your time is going to come. It's going to be a time when you're going to be in the playoffs in the West. But I'm telling you, these next 2 years, I just do not see it happening. But it's the time is going to come. You just got to stay patient.
Yeah, they don't make I don't see them making the playoffs anytime soon in the West for sure. We could agree on that.